Hey, so you may have heard, we've got a little project coming up this week. We're working on public service announcements, also known as PSAs. So first of all, let's talk about what that means. So a public service announcement is an advertisement that you might see on television or hear on radio that is going to try to raise awareness about a certain social issue maybe, or is going to try to get you to support a community event or maybe a community organization that is helping with some kind of social situation. It's always going to be for a nonprofit organization, meaning that it's not like a business or something like that, because public service announcements aren't paid for. Like basically radio and television stations have to give so much ad space to public service announcements. So one of the things that we can do is to kind of practice what a public service announcement might look like, because it's a good way to practice our persuasive skills and to use statistics and data and information that comes from a source to help us to support a position. So that might sound like argumentation to you, and you would be correct. It's to some degree an argumentative video or audio clip. It's not as important in this situation to think about a counterclaim and a rebuttal like we would with an argumentative essay, because there's such a short amount of time available. So usually a public service announcement is going to be around 30 seconds long, because, well, that's usually how long a commercial is about 30 seconds. And actually on radio, they're even shorter a lot of the time. So our assignment regarding public service announcements is to use information provided in the infographic, and you can find this infographic in your Canvas module for this week. So it's called infographic_hand_washing, and that's a PDF, and you'll know you found it because it has a big hand right in the middle of it, and it shows you what kinds of things you might find on your hands, because hands are kind of gross. And so that's actually the inspiration for the title of this assignment, which is Hands Are Gross PSA. So you need to open up that infographic, read over it, find some interesting information in there, and then you need to plan, create, and publish your own 20 to 45 second long PSA. So notice I told you that 30 seconds is about average for a public service announcement. I want you to shoot for somewhere between 20 and 45. So that puts the average kind of right in the middle. And actually, I have a sample one that I'm going to show you. It'll be in the module as well. You'll be able to watch that. That's actually a little bit longer. So I'm actually probably going to leave that Flipgrid assignment a little longer than 45 seconds, just in case you've got, some great ideas and you don't want to have to cut it down too far. So we're gonna plan, create, publish our own 20 to 45 second long PSAs that raise awareness about how hand hygiene is vital to fighting infections from bacteria and viruses. Okay, so we're focusing in on bacteria, viruses, that kind of thing, because it's really timely, right? So this public service announcement, I want you to kind of gear toward the situation that we're in right now. Like, why is what's going on our hands so important to everyday life? Because right now it really is. So take a look at that infographic, see what things stand out to you. I think for a lot of you it's probably going to be the hand washing thing, but some of you might take interest in some of the other things that are there. I actually stayed away from the hand washing one in my sample one, because I figured that a fair amount of people might go for you need to know how to wash your hands. And so here's a PSA to make sure that people know how to wash their hands. So see what you think about what's there though. I encourage you to think outside the box, okay? I don't really want to watch 45 different PSAs on how to wash your hands, okay? So if you could think outside the box, that'd be really helpful. It'd be really good for your critical thinking and creative thinking skills as well. So what we're going to do is start with a hook. That shouldn't surprise you. That's what we do with like everything. Whether we're writing a story, we're writing an informative essay, we're writing an argumentative essay, we start everything with a hook, right? So you're going to start with a hook. So in this case, because you're using video, you have some extra possibilities. As always, you could start with a wow fact, right? Something that like people are going to be like, I had no idea that that was true. That's kind of crazy. Or maybe a shocking statistic, or a quote, or an image, or a story. Now, an image you probably wouldn't be using unless you were painting a picture, right? Like imagine if. Well, you're doing video this time, so you don't have to have them imagine if. You can actually show an image and then explain why you showed that image, what it has to do with your point, that kind of thing. And then you also have the option of a scenario where you can actually kind of set this up like a skit or like a scene from a play or something like that. That you can use as your hook. That's actually what I did. Make sure you check out my example in other links in your module for this week. Then you need to present the topic and your overall message for your PSA. That's basically like your thesis statement, right? It's kind of like the central idea, so it's pretty much like the thesis statement for your PSA. Then you need to make sure that you use at least 2 pieces of evidence from the infographic. And then because the infographic doesn't really have an author's name on it, we're going to say that the author is Scope Magazine. So instead of saying, according to Kristen Lewis, you would say, according to Scope Magazine. Okay, so we're using Scope Magazine in place of an author. Basically what we're doing there is saying that we have a corporate author and that Scope Magazine is who authored this infographic. All right. So 2 pieces of text evidence, and then we need to make a call to action. And a call to action, this information is in the PSA assignment document, by the way, so that you can go through and read it if you'd like. But a call to action outlines what viewers can do, what the people who are watching your public service announcement can do to help with whatever it is, whatever the cause it is that the PSA is about. So that's what a call to action is what can your audience do to help this situation. And then you're going to want to supply your viewer with contact information where they can either get in touch with someone in order to help with the situation, or where they can get more information that's going to support what you're talking about, so that essentially you are raising awareness about your situation. I think what's going to happen for a lot of us is we're going to end up using the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, as our source there. So it would just be, you can say, for more information, go to www.cdc.org. And that will take care of that more information aspect. And then we are going to publish these PSAs through Flipgrid. So I will put up links and class codes and things like that for Flipgrid so that we can all sign in and submit our videos that way. So the thing about this project is that it really requires planning. So if you're one who's always been like, I'm not gonna do the planning sheet, you better do the planning sheet, okay? Because you need to have a plan before you create a storyboard. And a storyboard is where you break down the scenes that are gonna be in your video. And so that's actually an assignment, is to do the planning sheet and the storyboard, and you're gonna turn all of that in. Okay, so your planning sheet needs to feed into your storyboard, and your storyboard, just like I always say, nothing's final, nothing's set in stone until you hit submit, right? So your storyboard is a guide. You might change it up a little bit as you're filming your final version. Maybe you'll be like, oh, you know what? My plan wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be, and I need to change some things about it. Actually, I just got finished doing the planning, storyboarding, and recording of my public service announcement. And in the midst of filming that public service announcement, I changed multiple things. Okay, so you're not necessarily locked in to what's on the storyboard, but that storyboard should be there to help you to make decisions as you go through the filming aspect of your video. Now, Flipgrid has added some different features, particularly during this distance learning period. They've added some things that people have been asking for. So you can actually upload a video that you've taken and edited through a different format or through different software. So you don't have to film your video through Flipgrid. You can if you'd like to, but if you would prefer to maybe use like Photo Booth and then edit through iMovie, it appears that you can do that now. That didn't used to be the case, but it appears that you can do it now. They actually have now opened things up to 10 minutes. Nobody needs a 10-minute PSA though. That's completely unnecessary. So keep it under a minute, please, at the very least. But you do have some options there as far as if you don't like the way or the amount of editing that you can do in Flipgrid, you can take that video through a different app, edit it through a different app, and then upload it to Flipgrid. Okay? So, let's see, what else? In the PSA assignment, there is some information about how many words you should plan on having, particularly if you're going to do a PSA where you're sitting on camera and you're giving some information. You're going to tell a story, you're going to give some facts to support it, you're going to give a call to action, and then you're going to give information about where to get more information or who you can contact to get involved in your cause, that kind of stuff. So if you're going to do one like that in particular, you'll probably want to check out that chart on the PSA assignment document because it does kind of give you a guideline for how many words you should plan based on how many seconds you want your video to be. All right. Also, feel free to ask your family to help out with this. Like, you can make it into a family project if you'd like. Just make sure that you're still meeting all of the requirements for the assignment. But this is one that really lends itself well to, hey, the whole family can get involved. Actually, mine has Mr. Dixon in it as well. We did kind of a little skit thing together, and so that's absolutely and positively something that you can do. So this assignment is worth 15 points, and that's going to go in the classroom assignments category. So it's going to go in the 20% category. So that means it's worth more than your homework for the week, basically. So please make sure that you're putting some time and attention and effort into this. But you can get the complete rubric on the PSA assignment, and I would make sure to check into that. I'm running out of time on my video here, so I don't want to go through it point by point with you right now, but you can look at that PSA assignment so that you see exactly where your points are coming from, so that you make sure that you're doing the best job that you can do on this public service announcement. So as always, if you have questions, email me at ddixon@pdys.org, message me on Canvas, or you can log into my office hours on Zoom from 10 to 11 a.m. Monday through Thursday this week, and 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday this week. I hope you have a lot of fun with this, because the intention is for it to be something a little less structured and for you to be able to be a little bit creative and so on. But I do need a final copy of this submitted through Flipgrid by midnight on Thursday, since we have Friday off. Okay? So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, be creative, have fun, and do a good job.